This is Tales from the Cube, a podcast about call centers, what it's like to work in them, the good, the bad, the ugly, the funny and not so funny side of what it's like working in a call center. Good day and welcome to another edition of Tales from the Cube. This is episode 25-001. The next few episodes will be a part of a series. I will be speaking about the cost of setting up call centers. So, let's dive in here. Call centers, they can be very profitable ventures, but you want to be aware that there are all kinds of costs associated with them. It is important for those who own, manage, and work in call centers to understand the importance of cost and to manage resources well. There are costs associated with setting up call centers. This is what we're going to focus on in this first episode. And there are costs that are also associated with running them as well. So centers, they're going to cost you a bit of money to set up and to start running them. The first thing for anyone wanting to dive in and set up a call center will be what type of center that you would like to set up. Inbound, outbound, order entry, customer service, or tech support. Those are some of the options that are out there. Are you setting up a center for your own company? Or is this going to be a third-party center that supports other businesses? That's another key question you're going to have to ask yourself and answer. The next step is, where are you going to locate the center? Will the center be located in an office tower downtown or on the outskirts of the city? Or are you planning to have all the staff work remotely, except for a few administrative staff, of course, located in the head office? In some instances, you may also be looking at setting up a company in another country. Then there is either buying or renting space and, of course, the equipment to go and start doing this versus buying it. Not to mention getting lines for taking calls and software to run the computers. Everything I have mentioned so far involves cost, except for large companies wanting to expand. Most people getting into the call center business start small, very, very small. We're talking like 4 or 5 seat call centers. I have actually worked in a startup. The company rents out furniture and other things to people. Today, that company has a few call centers, internal and external. At the time when I was on the job, it was just a 4-seat center in the back of a store. I won't mention who they are, but that's what I did. I actually was in the back of a store. They did their thing in the front and we did our thing in the back, and there were 4 of us basically running the call center. Was it successful? Yes, because in the end they actually expanded and now have centers all over the place, so good for them. It is not cheap to set up and run a call center. Besides all the things mentioned above, there is paying for your staff, registering with agencies for oversight and compliance, and the cost of training and maintaining staff, and of course the equipment. So let's start out by talking about these costs, all right, these startup costs. The average wage of a rep is going to depend on their experience. The entry-level representative, you're looking to pay about $30,000 per year for their service. A bilingual agent, well, you can expect to pay around $32,000 for the entry level. And of course, if they are more experienced, you might pay $33,000, $34,000, or even $35,000 for that rep. Staff who are more experienced will typically look to get paid, as I mentioned, $35,000. The most experience may cost your company upwards of $50,000 to hire. Think about that, upwards of $50,000 to hire those people. So you want to hire really good quality staff. So let's take a little bit of a fictional figure, if you will. So if you hire 10 staff members, you're looking at about $300,000 to $400,000 or $500,000 annually. More likely, you're going to be sitting in the middle at about $400,000 or $400,000 if you have a mix of experienced and entry-level members on your staff. The next thing, of course, is the training. These people do need to be trained. That's going to cost you about $1,000 per staff member. So 10 people, $10,000. So those 10 people will have to be trained, and that's going to have an impact on your budget to the tune of that mentioned $10,000 to train for the first time. And of course, whenever the campaign is going to change or there are new products or upgrades to products and services, well, you're going to fork out more money for the upskilling of that team member or those team members. And of course, as you grow, this is going to cost even more. So you add another 5 or 10 agents, you add another 20 agents, you specialize, whatever. That's going to start costing you money. Of course, at the beginning of all of this, you're going to want to start thinking about recruiting. There is the recruiting of the people to the campaign. You're going to have to look at newspapers, online, and other modes of communication regarding open jobs. That's going to also cost you. On average, you may have to pay $2,000 to $3,000 for the recruiting that you're going to be doing. Okay, so it could even get more expensive for you. But look for around 2 to 3. And of course, you should understand and be aware that this is going to be a recurring cost, as there is going to be attrition during training, and yes, you'll lose staff. So you will need to keep up and look around for new candidates. Firing any new or experienced rep will cost you for the money that you've put out. Let's say, for example, a middle of the road rep, it's going to cost you $32,000 in lost revenue because, remember, you had to pay them. Plus, you may have to pay them severance if you've been doing this for a long time. So let's say you do it a year, 2 years, 3 years, and you're still having a growth period, and you have those 10 agents or maybe 20 agents, and you start losing staff. Well, 2 or 3 years in, yeah, you're going to look at paying a year's severance for that person. So you might want to really think about this. You want to hire good people and make sure that you take care of your staff. You may have to meet them in the middle regarding outside forces affecting their work, like childcare and, of course, sick family members. Besides pay, you're also going to want to think about benefits like RRSPs and insurance, plus other perks. So these are just some of the real beginnings of putting a call center together, thinking about how you're going to go forward with this. Well, that's something where the research is going to be really necessary. You are really going to want to research this like in-depthly. Study the market, understand what you can and cannot do where regulation is concerned. Know where you want to plant your footprint. Know what kind of call center niche you want to get into, whether it's the technical support, the outbound, the inbound. All of that stuff involves one more important thing. Taking the time, and this is not going to cost you money, but it will cost you time, and that's researching. Finding out whether or not this is really something you want to do, because at the end of the day, it's going to cost you money, as I mentioned in the earlier parts of this episode. So we're going to continue on with more episodes on this. There's a couple of them coming online here in the next couple of weeks. I think you'll find these very informative and interesting as we journey through building a call center. Thanks for listening to this episode of Tales from the Cube. My name again is Cliff. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Tales from the Cube. My name is Cliff Tour. You can hear us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Audible. Thanks again for listening. We appreciate it. We'll see you in the next episode of Tales from the Cube.